Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA 408. I am Brendan. UFC Fight Night, Namajunas versus Cortez. Breaking all these fights down, going through them round by round, talking about the main card here. We're going to do that. Also, real quick, before we start getting into this stuff, how much better was this than the last pay-per-view? Seriously, than the last pay-per-view, like UFC 303, how much better was this? So much better. It's almost like when you have time to prepare and every fight doesn't fall out, the card turns out to not be shit. All right. If you like this kind of thing, subscribe to the channel. That way when the next video is coming out, I'd appreciate it. If you like this video and you want to click the like button, I'd appreciate that too. Let's get started. Let's talk about some fights. All right. Namajunas taking on Cortez. Obviously, Namajunas is the former strawweight champion taking on Cortez. They're both ranked. I think it was 11 and 5 in the flyweight division. Nope. 11 and 6, my bad. Yeah, so Rose was ranked 6th. This fight was just, I think Cortez, I don't want to be rude. This division is not as stacked as strawweight, and part of the reason is a lot of the strawweights end up moving up to flyweight, and, it thins out both the divisions. I understand Dana White's old adage of, there's too many weight classes, less weight classes is better. I get that, especially when the talent pool is so thin like this. With that, you can look at this and say, Namajunas is clearly just a step above. It's maybe multiple steps above. Rose was moving fast to start, landing low kicks. Big right hand landed for Rose. Again, when Cortez moves in, and in that right hand, she knocked off Cortez's fucking fake eyelash. That was hilarious. Gotta love it. Cortez has a shot with one big hook or something, but she is just levels below when it comes to the technique, right? Rose was finding her mark, picking her shots for the whole round. She outstruck her here 26-12. Clearly her round, mixing up the shots, doing whatever she wanted, 10-9. Second round, Cortez trying to force her way into range, but Rose is circling and landing tight shots. Cortez gets a takedown and right to the back, but Rose slips her off and then gets back up. Almost immediately, Rose gets a takedown trip to end the round. Another round for her. If you look at the striking numbers, almost identical to the first round, 26-11 in the second round here. Rose is just, like I said, she's picking her shots, landing when she can, doing much better job, pretty much whatever she wants. And then with that takedown at the end of that second round, she takes it into the third round here. Cortez comes out fast. Rose turns her back and gets that same takedown and right into mount this time. Cortez works her way back up with 3 minutes left, and she goes for her own takedown, but ends up on bottom and getting mounted again. Rose on the back, and they're back up with 45 seconds left. Not a lot of striking in this round, 5-2 in favor of Namajunas, but the control time over 3 minutes of it, 3 minutes and 47 seconds of it. So, this round, not even close. The first two rounds, I would argue, not even close. Clearly, she's up 30-27. So, Cortez, she's doing what she can. She's trying to make it a sloppy brawl, and when she does that, Rose ends up getting the clinch and holds her in place. And then Cortez starts the round with fire and pressuring, but then slows down as the round ends up. She's done this for the last 3 rounds. Or she's started it in the second round. She continues it actually into the fifth round. And then right near the end of the round, Cortez gets a takedown, but they get right back up. She needed a finish, and she needs a finish. Namajunas, like the striking numbers in this one, really close, 12-11 in favor of Cortez, actually. Control time went to Namajunas. Total strikes went to Namajunas. Very close round. If you gave this one to Cortez, I still don't agree with it, but, there's an argument there, I guess, just by pure numbers. Last round here. Same start as the third round with Cortez moving forward, throwing caution to the wind. Let's see if she can keep it up. She kept it up a little bit longer in this round. I don't know if she didn't have the gas or if she just didn't have the game plan or the technique or whatever it was. This last round was actually pretty close. She did land some bigger shots, 28-21 in favor of Namajunas again. But I think Cortez with the forward pressure and landing some of those big shots, you could give her this last round. I don't think you have to. I think it was closer than the 7-strike differential makes it look out to be. But I think the fifth round was actually closer than the fourth round. And then we look at the scorecards here. Let's see. Saul D'Amato giving the last round to Tracy Cortez, Chris Lee giving the last round to Tracy Cortez, and then Eric Colon giving the last 2 rounds to Cortez. Again, you could make that argument. It's a bad one, but you could try and make it. What does this mean for Rose, and what does this mean for Cortez? So Cortez, I think, just ran into someone who's actually good at fighting. And I know that sounds like a disparaging, and I'm putting her down, but it's just the nature of the game, right? When these divisions are so shallow, someone like Cortez with her rudimentary skills and decent power can make it into the top 10, can make it into the title picture. But if you take a skilled fighter even from another division, a lower weight class coming up, you can see that it's not even close. The gap is like a mile, right? At what point in that fight did you think Cortez was winning any significant battle of all the things that were going on in there? When did you think Cortez was winning? Like I said, it's not that she couldn't have won. She absolutely could have. She lands a big shot. It's just less likely at the lower weight classes. So, she's gotten away with a lot. I think in her last fight, she had that split decision against Justine Kish. She got, I think, gifted a decision against Gatto. She was undefeated in the UFC, and as beating Agapova, Mello, Egger, Kish, Gatto, and Jazdavicius. There's just nobody on there. That's nothing. And putting her in the top, I mean, she was ranked 11. She wasn't in the top 10, but you go to flyweight, looking at the flyweight division, Amanda Hebos, I think is way better. Araujo, that I think is way better. A lot more skills. Natalia Silva, possibly. Caitlin, Sermonara, lots of skill. Not a lot of finishing power, tons of skill. Obviously, Namajunas, Jessica Andrade, put her against her, see how that goes. Macy Barber, Erin Blanchfield. Now we're getting into like a lot of skill right here at the very top of the division. But you can go on she just proved it. You can go on a 5-6 fight win streak in this division, make it into, like, given certain circumstances, she could have made it into the top 5. A la frickin' Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern went on the same kind of run. Now, hers was more impressive because she's getting finishes and stuff, and not just unanimous decisions. But you go through this, and you come out looking like a world beater, both because of your record and the way you're ending these fights. And then you go back with a little bit of scrutiny, and you realize, like, oh, maybe there was nothing to this. Real James Vick-esque record. Not a horrible fight. Last round kind of stunk just because Rose was playing it safe. A lot of risk management in that last round, but not a horrible fight. This card was pretty damn good. Santiago Ponzinibbio taking on Muslim Salikhov. This fight had potential. There were moments where it was exciting, but there was that last round got real stinky. Ponzinibbio is advancing, trying to reach with that with the the long right hand. Salikhov trying to counter with big hooks, right? Trying to throw everything into so much stuff. Close round with Ponzinibbio advancing a majority of it. If you look at the striking numbers here, Salikhov did outstrike him 17-14. Striking numbers were relatively close. I don't think that Salikhov landed that much more damage. Here's the problem. One of the things that clearly didn't land from my perspective was a spinning back fist, and Ponzinibbio ducked under it but lost his balance in the process. And he even waved his finger. And I don't know if that makes it worse or better, but a lot of fighters, when they do that, you think like, oh, well, he got hit. It just didn't hurt him. Like, oh, okay. But if you look at it, he did not get touched. He just dodged out of the way and lost his balance, rolled his ankle or something. Now, if you saw that from the side and thought that damaged him and dropped him, well, there you go. This is Salikhov's round. It was a close round, so you give that to Salikhov. I thought Ponzinibbio did enough in this round. 9 of the shots to the head, to the 7 coming back at him. The body shots from Salikhov were decent, but I don't think the 4 differential were like the world-ending shots. So I had Ponzinibbio doing more damage in this, but you have to have a keen eye when you're watching that stuff. And it might just be perspective based off of what chair you're sitting in. So I had him up 10-9. Salikhov is winding up on hooks and finding the mark with a couple of them, but Ponzinibbio is just shelling up. Right, this does not look good for him. Salikhov is slowing down as round goes on, backing up, but still throwing big. Ponzinibbio gets a takedown with 20 seconds left. He just wasn't able to do anything with it. Close round again, and here's the thing. He outstruck him here 16-14, but I think Salikhov did a majority of the damage leading up to the when he started to slow down. So, if anything, it was even. You want to consider who was advancing forward. I don't think either one of them really had that. Another close round, but I gave it to Salikhov. So I had it 19-19 going to third. Tentative last round for both guys, both slowing down. Ponzinibbio gets a takedown and controls him. Not a lot of striking in here. 15-11 in favor of Salikhov, but 2 minutes of control time with Ponzinibbio on top, doing a little bit of damage there. Do you think those the four-strike differential from Salikhov, remember, seven of his strike, he outstruck him 8-1 to the body. Do you think those body shots made the difference, right? Do you think those body shots made the difference to swing the damage in his favor so much so that you could definitively say he definitely did more damage, therefore the control time did not matter? Or do you think it was close enough to where you think the control time mattered for Ponzinibbio? So I had the control time mattering for him. I gave it to Ponzinibbio. Looking at the scorecards here, Chris Lee gave the first 2 rounds to Muslim. Second round, sure. First round, again, if Dean Abeda and Chris Lee weren't paying attention or just had a bad seat or whatever, they saw it wrong. Now, here's what I don't understand. Their cards are at least defensible. That first round was close enough, and if you saw that punch wrong, how was Eric Colon giving that second round to Ponzinibbio and the first round? So he gives the first round to Ponzinibbio and the second round to Ponzinibbio and the last round to Salikhov. This guy's on some shit. I think he wrote down the wrong names. That's bad. That makes sense. It doesn't make sense. Fun fight while it lasted in the first. Well, the action lasted, but a lot of tentative stuff in the last round here. Drew Dober versus John Silva. I thought this was going to be a firefight. It turned out to be. It was really fun to watch while this one lasted. Unfortunately, getting stopped by the doctor for a good reason. Not a bad stoppage. Kicked from Dober, landing low, then to the body with a jab that shakes Silva. Silva landing some hard hooks up top, but as usual, Dober just stays in there with his fire hydrant head. Dober wants to exchange, but Silva's landing faster in them. Right? He wants to move in there. He wants to exchange, wants to extend his combinations, but Silva finds the mark more often, and he's throwing more out there faster. And he's got good head movement. A couple of them you could say it's accidental or just whatever, but he's moving his head really well. Silva just keeps catching him on the way in with that lead hook, and I think he outdamaged him in this round, even though the striking numbers were close. But if you gave this to Drew Dober, I totally understand. I gave it to Silva. I thought that he landed enough here. Like those couple shots at Rock Silva, like early, I don't know if they really damaged him that much. Maybe he was just off balance. But from what I saw, I thought even though Silva was backing up, I thought he outdamaged him here. Same story in the second round. Dober needs to land a heavy shot because the point fighting really seems to favor Silva. He did, like I said, he did outstrike him here in this first round, but Silva outlanded him to the head. Those body shots from Drew Dober were excellent in that first round, 8-6 in the first round. But here's the thing. Those body shots didn't seem to be slowing Silva down. It didn't seem to be opening up the headshots. It didn't seem to be opening anything up. So the damage, you really got to outland him then. Silva looks over at the corner and tells them to shh, like gives him the thing. I think he Dober's corner, and Dober lands a heavy left hand and then a heavy right. Silva doesn't seem affected by a lot of Dober's shots, and they just aren't landing flush. Silva's, I think, his head movement just even at the last second is doing a good job of taking some of the sting off of him. Silva landing, and then Dober lands a hard Superman punch. So up until this point, this was a really back and forth round. I still was leaning towards Silva, and then right at the end of the round, Silva lands a spinning back elbow, rocking Dober before the end of the round. And any questions were put to rest there. So I had him up 20-18. And in the last round, cut above Dober's eye, gets too big, and you can't continue with that. All three judges had Silva winning the first round or the first 2 rounds. I understand that. I mean, that's how I scored it. Makes sense. I was hoping for more. I was really interested to see how that last round went. It probably, based off what I saw, I didn't see Dober making the correct adjustments. It looked like he was just trying to force his way into those interactions, and I don't think that was going to change anything. All right, Gabriel Bonfim versus Ange Loosa. You could keep this one. You could keep it. I don't want it. Loosa with the clinch right away, taking him down twice, but they get right back up. Bonfim digging hard knees to the body in the clinch over and over. Those were probably his best attack through the entire fight whenever he got to those knees to the body. I was hoping to see a little bit more of exchanges. I was hoping to see some stuff. And then as the fight went on, we can kind of see what was happening. Loosa just was not interested in fighting, and he was just trying to make it through. Bonfim did more damage in this first round. No argument. 10-9. Second round, Loosa right away with the takedown, then back up. Loosa is doing a decent job of keeping his guard high and finding the mark with his jab and some with the right hand, but he's getting outstruck here. He got outstruck here 35-21 in this round, 23-15 in the first round. This turned into a point fight for the most part, with Bonfim landing more with harder shots as well. So I hit him up 20-18. The last round was more of the same. Loosa staying safe and defensively sound, but not really exposing himself or opening up to land big strikes. He really looked like he just wanted to make it. Wasn't even going for takedowns. So it looked like he was just trying to make it to the end of the fight, which he did. And he lost. Rightfully so. All right, another banger. Julian Erosa taking on Christian Rodriguez. Juicy J. Fun fight while this one lasted. I love Julian Erosa fights. Rodriguez was in his face, landing the 1-2, and the jab was landing well. Rodriguez lands a high kick, and Erosa just keeps moving forward through it. Standing and trading. I just wrote down, holy shit. Like, there's so much damage getting thrown back and forth. Erosa staggers him with a right hand, and Rodriguez fires back. Now he's backing up. Erosa finding the mark with that right step-in elbow, tracks him down, looking to put it on him, and then Rodriguez fires back and rocks Erosa. Erosa catches a kick, gets it right to the back and the body triangle. And you're like, oh, maybe he's going to work for the rear naked choke. And then Rodriguez gets out of it, gets on top of him, and then Erosa gets head height, reaches over, locks up that guillotine, and gets the finish with, I think, 11 seconds left? Was the official? Yeah, 11 seconds left. Excellent fight. Lots of action. I could have watched 2 more rounds of that. That was fantastic. Great win for Erosa. You can say like a comeback victory, but it wasn't. It was back and forth the whole time anyway. So, all right. And then we will end this video with probably the most lackluster fight on the card. Abdul Razak Alhassan versus Cody Brundage. Okay. I have a lot to say about this. Not a lot happened. We were only in the fight 37 seconds in the fight. It starts exactly how you think it's going to start. Brundage with the overhand right, and then right in on a takedown attempt. And then during that takedown attempt, Alhassan's throwing the downward elbows. I have no problem with those elbows, at least the direction of them. But they're landing to the when you're watching these fights and you see multiple shots go to the back of the head, you're like, okay, what the hell? And you say, oh, well, it's in transition. It's not, because the takedown attempt was extended. So he's on that takedown attempt. He's on that double leg attempt for an extended period of time. And Alhassan's throwing those elbows and repeatedly striking the back of the head. One of them was cleanly to the back of the head. The other ones were questionable, right? I don't remember if he got warned there, but I do know that from that scenario, clearly Murgliata saw what was going on. Gets him down to the ground, kind of. And then Alhassan, he gets his hips out and starts he starts elbowing down again. He gets warned for striking to the back of the head. And then he does it a couple more times, and then another clear one, like 2 strikes to the back of the head that were clearly to the back of the head. And then Murgliata waves it off. Well, not waves it off. He calls for a time, separates him. Cody Brundage is rocked, which he should be. I mean, he just took a ton of damage. Some of those shots are clean. So, but like clean shots, dirty shots don't matter. Damage is damage. So Brundage, you could tell he doesn't want to continue. And you can talk about the warrior spirit and all this other bullshit and all this other stuff. Like, it's a sport. if you get hit with a clean right hook and then someone kicks you in the nuts so hard that you puke, was it your responsibility to continue because, oh, well, he was rocked already. He was already hurt. He didn't want to be in there anymore. Is it? I don't think so. I think if you're damaged so hard... Now, am I a fan of when people play it up or when you see things go that way? No. Am I a fan when someone says, I don't want to fight? No, because I want to see him fight. Like, I think it's cool that Brundage essentially has, ended 2 fights with someone landing illegal blows on him? No. I think it sucks. But they called this a no contest. And Miragliotta said, I don't think you intended to do this. Now, and then because they called it accidental strikes. Now, you tell me how this could be accidental. Or actually, not how it could be accidental. How is it okay that if you're specifically warned not to do something in a fight where you've already been warned, you know the rules, you get the rules backstage, that's your first warning. You've already been warned in the fight for doing this action, and then you continue to do the action, you do it again, and the fight ends because of that action that you took, the illegal action that you took. And your punishment is no contest. Not that you lose, that it's a no contest. What that tells me is it just goes more to my point that I always make. The less disciplined, the fighter who's less disciplined when it comes to protecting or not throwing illegal strikes tends to be the person who comes out on the short with the short end of the stick. Right? They get the short end of the stick, sorry. Yeah. Because you're essentially limiting yourself. You're taking brain power, you're doing something that your opponent just isn't spending any energy on. And you can call it bullshit. You can call it, well, that's such a small factor. Well, when we're talking about a fight where millimeters matter, right? Where someone throwing a punch or fractions of a second matter for your reaction time. Taking that split second to think like, oh, well, I shouldn't poke him in the eye. I don't want to extend my fingers out there. That could be the end of your night. It could be the end of your career. And I'm not excusing it, right? I'm not saying like, oh, that's why everybody loses who doesn't foul. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that based off the data that I've been collecting over the past 2 years, it's not like 100% of the time the fouler wins. That's not what I've seen. What I've seen, and then also with the observed data, right? What I observe is the fighters who care less about fouls, right? The fighters who care less about committing fouls, especially on the margins, especially in the close fights, those are the guys who come out on top. And then in the fights where the separation is even bigger, like a guy who doesn't care that he's kicking you low and then catching you in the nuts sometimes, like that can be demoralizing. It could be a lot of things that could fuck you up. So I'm not happy with the no contest. I don't think Alhassan's a bad guy for this. I don't think he was targeting the back of the head. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying if you are warned for something, like we've already got it on the books, got it on tape, said don't do that, and then you go do that, how in any other form of life do we just wave that off and be like, it's not that big of a deal? Other than with children. And even with children, they get in trouble. You're repeatedly told not to touch something. You go touch something, there's got to be consequences. A no contest is not a consequence. See what I'm saying? Oh, but it's cage fighting. People punch each other in the face. Yep. And there's rules. And you broke the rules. Consequences. Anyway, overall, the night was pretty damn good. Started out with the stinker. Some really good fights in there. John Silva, Drew Dober, Julian Erosa was a great one. That's one round. Bonfim versus Loosa, the first round was exciting. Ponzinibbio, Salikhov, the first 2 rounds weren't bad. Rose Namajunas looked great in her, the card moved along pretty quick. It felt like it had some energy to it, much better than 303. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Subscribe to the channel. That way, when the next video is coming out, I'd love that. If you did like the video, hit the like button. That'd be awesome. I hope you guys have an amazing week. Love y'all. Peace.